welcome or welcome back to yet another video. If you are new on this channel, welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continuous support. So as you guys can see by the title of this video, I decided to just quickly let you guys know some of the reasons why your application might be declined or rejected, especially if you are applying to teach abroad. So these are not all the reasons, but they are most of the common reasons that a lot of people face when it's time for them to actually apply to work abroad, right? So if you do follow some of the tips that I gave in my application process video, I am going to just insert a thumbnail or the link to the video on my description box. You would have seen that it's quite a daunting process, but it's possible. There's a lot of people who managed to go through the process following some of my tips and tricks, and they are currently here in Taiwan working in their specific schools, right? So on today's video, we are going to talk about some of those people who have reached out to me asking me, dude, what is happening? They are not responding to my emails, they are not saying anything, or they rejected my offer. So with these tips or with these points that I'm going to mention today, please be aware that they can be improved, and also in other cases it could be you, or it could be from the end of the employer or people who are looking for teachers. So you might not always be the one who made a mistake during your application process, but also there's so many things that happen in between. Okay, so let's start off with the first point. Let's start with the application. Right, so one of the reasons why your application might actually be declined is your CV. If your CV is incomplete, if your CV is not attractive enough, if it doesn't catch the recruiter's attention, then you are most likely going to be declined. Because what are you mentioning on your CV? Guys, remember, some things are very important for you to mention. Things like your teaching experience or working experience, your qualifications, and basically skills. Those are the most common and most important things. And then please add your references as well as part of things that are very important on your CV. The next point are your qualifications. If your qualifications do not match the advertisement, then you are not going to get the job. Some people do get lucky, yes, but when you apply for a job, especially to come abroad, please read the requirements so that you can see if you do qualify, because chances are if you shoot your shots, they are not going to respond to you, or you are not going to land yourself the job. The next point you want to look into is that you have to be someone who doesn't have a criminal record. So if you do have a criminal record, chances are you are not going to get a job abroad. So if you're still in South Africa, or if you're still in your home country, try by all means to not have any crimes attached to your name. Don't even try, just don't commit crime. Stay away from trouble. And then you should be okay. So another important thing that they look into is your qualification. Again, they look into factors such as, is it from a recognizable university or institution, and also the actual qualification, do they recognize it? So those are some of the most important things to look into, and some of the reasons why your application might be rejected. And then another point, during the application process, remember or bear in mind, you are not the only one who is looking for a job. So there are better candidates. I am so sorry to say this, you guys, but chances are there are people out there who have better CVs, who have better skills. That is why you need to go back to your CV and sell yourself, so that you can, even if you don't get to the final stage, but you can be one of the top candidates or people that they consider to hire in the near future. Now let's look into some of the things or reasons apart from the actual application process that might cause you to, or news where they say that we regret to inform you, oh my gosh, I hate those words. They are not nice to hear. So maybe one of the reasons why your application didn't go through is because you were not prepared for the interview. So prepare yourself for the interview, guys. Prepare yourself for the interviews. If you are not prepared for your interview, what do you expect? So that might be one of the reasons why you didn't land yourself a job, because you were just not prepared for the interview. You did not prepare, do your research, you did not practice, you just didn't put the efforts to try and elevate how you speak, how you articulate your words, and basically how you present yourself. So prepare for those interviews so that you can have higher chances of landing yourselves the jobs. Another point is that your fluency, especially when you come to teach abroad, when you apply to teach abroad, one of the most important things that they look into is your fluency. Are you able to speak English the way that they feel like is okay? Remember, I spoke about having competition. As South Africans, we have competition from America, Canada, Australia, the UK, so many countries that are recognized as the native speaking countries. And also because most of us South Africans who come abroad are usually African or black, so the competition is really high and tight. So try to really present yourself and put yourself out there. If you feel like you're not sure, do research, find out about the country you want to go to, how they expect people to speak, and also just practice your fluency, and that'll go a long way, because if you are going to be traveling to teach abroad, chances are very high, like extremely high, that they will be looking at your fluency, and that is going to play a huge role in you landing yourself a job. The next point that you want to look into is that maybe, just maybe, everything was okay, but then eventually you had so many requests. You want this, you don't want that, you have too many demands, and they feel like, oh my god, if you come to their country or if you join their program, then you're going to give them a problem. So try to be someone who has a preference, express how you like things, because chances are they will ask you. So tell us about yourself and express yourself without coming off as someone who has high expectations or someone who's going to be a problem for them. So I'm not saying that do not have standards or expectations or requirements, but be realistic. Don't aim too high, because at the end of the day, remember, you are going to be moving into a different country where they have different beliefs and where they do things differently and see things differently. So you want to be someone who's going to meet them halfway, especially if you want to land yourself a job. Another point is, if you cannot hold simple conversations, how are they going to hire you? If you are someone who cannot engage in simple conversations during the interview process, during the process where they are trying to maybe study or analyze your fluency, how are you going to land yourself a job? If you are very irritable, you are someone who you seem like you don't have time, or you cannot even engage in a simple conversation, if you cannot even hold a simple conversation. So basically, have some personality, be someone who is not too overwhelming to be around, but also be outspoken, ask some questions, smile, be welcoming, you know, be someone who they can enjoy talking to, even if it's just talking about the weather, about your day, but be someone who they are most likely going to enjoy talking to, which might actually help you to land the job. If they like your personality and you check all the boxes, chances are they will give you the job. And maybe if they feel like somehow you lack, they will help you. They would rather have someone they see that is willing to improve and progress than someone who is big-headed and giving them an attitude. So that is why I said it is important for you to really have less requirements and requests and just be someone who is open to learning new things. Remember, you're applying for this job to come here and learn about a different culture and obviously make money, but that's one of the things that you say, right? You say, oh, I want to know more about your country, I want to know more about the culture. That's what we always say. But so be that person who is willing to learn more and to be shown how other things are done. The next point is, if you are not polite, how are you going to land yourself a job? Like, be polite. So it goes back to respecting even the person who is conducting the interview, even if it's not like the stage where it's supposed to be an interview. How you approach them while you send your CV. If you do not come off as someone who is polite, or if you rub them in a wrong way just by simply approaching them in a wrong way, then you might not even get a response. So when you send your CV or your application, you want to be even polite when you send that email. Use words that are going to express that you are someone who is rather kind, polite, you really need assistance. Not that you need to come off as desperate, but I think you guys know what I mean. You know, some people are just rude. Some people just have high expectations, like, oh, you do need teachers, so I'm here, hire me, you know, type of attitude. You don't want to give them that kind of attitude, but you want to give them the attitude that says, I am a teacher who's currently looking for a job. I would really appreciate it if you can consider my application, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Those are things you want to give off through your application process. And then the last point is, maybe your application is regretted or denied because of the application window period. So maybe during the time where you applied, they didn't have any available positions, or maybe the applications are currently closed, or they are too busy to get back to you as soon as they can. And in that regard, it means you have to be patient and you have to wait a bit longer for them to respond to you, and hopefully that will be the case. There are delays then to get rejected. And with that being said, I hope you guys are going to land yourselves those jobs. Maybe some of these tips are actually going to open up your mind and do realize that actually you might not be the problem when you apply for the job. Maybe sometimes it's from the other end. And also look at yourself as an applicant. Are you someone who, the way you approach the situation at hand, which is applying for a job, if you were on the other side, would you be okay responding to how you send your emails? Do you think you would hire someone who has a CV similar to yours? And do you think that you have been able to sell yourself? Being able to sell yourself is one of the biggest reasons why you wouldn't have any problems landing yourselves jobs. With that being said, I wish you guys all the best. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. See you guys on my next video. Goodbye.